So my name is Amadeo Rabine Verhoeven. My middle name is Howell. I'm 27 years old.
My name is Avery Farugi.
Hi, I'm Holly. My pronouns are she, her. I'm an electronics student here at Chemeketa.
I would say that being trans is an incongruence with the assigned gender that you have at birth.
Being trans is just like you're not the gender that you were born as. So you change it later on, and you can keep changing it, and you can change it to whatever. Like it doesn't, I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter.
It's the dissonance. It's realizing that your body is not you, I guess. Or, hard to describe.
I don't really have an off switch for my gender identity. I never have. Absolutely.
My gender identity for me is just male, just basic, like a guy. I was a girl, now I'm a guy. I'm transgender, but I'm just a guy. So I just use he, him pronouns, and that's it. It's pretty straightforward, I don't know.
When it comes to gender, I guess, I don't know, generally I like tight pants. I don't know. That's hard for me to talk about. I like the makeup thing, but even if I thought I was a dude, I'd probably wear makeup because it's awesome.
I didn't realize I was trans until I was 15 years old. I was a model as a child. I was in musical theater. I had a very intense childhood and very intense relationships. So I was very aware of sexuality, gender, but it was so limited. It was just about I'm a girl and that's a boy.
I couldn't have been older than 7, and I was I had this random thought, if life was like a video game and you could choose to be a boy or a girl, before the start, before you were born, I'd choose to be a boy. And then I had no follow-up and no questioning as to why I thought that. I just had that random thought as a 7-year-old, and I never thought about it or questioned it.
Before I started transitioning, I was just confused and angry, really angry.
Being trans impacts my day-to-day life, whether or not I want it to. It impacts my ability to access resources. It impacts my ability to get interviews. It impacts my safety level when I answer the phone at my job, right? I have to think about turning off this voice when I answer the phone. I have to think about how safe I am when I walk to my car at night. And these are all things that it gets really easy to kind of pretend oh yeah, who doesn't feel unsafe? Well, I don't feel safe because there have been times at my job where I have been held hostage by a man who is blocking me physically from leaving, telling me about his daughter being a lesbian and how he doesn't support her and how he thinks that trans people should be killed. And I have to find a way to kind of artfully diffuse the situation. I've had people come into the gallery and berate me about my life decisions and tell me that I am a horrible person. I've had people accuse me of doing unspeakable things.
It doesn't impact my day-to-day life very much. It's more so generally overall my entire life, but less day-to-day stuff.
In the beginning, it really changed how people interacted with me. But now it's kind of the same, or not the same. It's just kind of, I've been inoculated, essentially. If there were things that were different before that are not the same now, I don't know if I would notice.
I wish that people would stop asking, how did you know you were trans?
I wish people would stop asking the question, well, why do you think that way? Or why do you feel that way? About being transgender. It's a question that when someone asks it, I feel like I don't have an answer to give them that they want. Why do you think that way? Or why do you feel that? There's not a specific thing that I can point to say this is why I'm transgender, or like I have no idea. I just feel this way, and this is how I feel, and this is what I do, and I don't have like an explanation or a reason behind it.
If your vision of trans people hinges on you like knowing if they're going to have a or a in the future, like what kind of person are you really? Like that doesn't mean anything, really.
I think that we live in a very controlling world. I think that we live in a society that drowns out free speech and freedom of expression and authentic self-expression. And I just think it hits some groups a little bit harder. That's it. I think that trans people are expected to either perfectly conform with gender or hide themselves completely, and then are supposed to never talk about being trans, but then always disclose it. And I think the biggest expectation about trans people that we get punished for a lot is the societal expectation to not be ugly.
There is misogyny inherent in gender and in being trans. I feel like for trans women, it's a lot harder.
Social expectations for us? Like there's a million. People want us to be, like just recently I was talking with my coworker, well, more like co-student, whatever. Bro essentially made some comments like, the only trans people that I've ever met or respected were ones that were just trying to blend in. And I'm sitting here thinking, what does that mean for me, buddy? Who the hell am I? Do I blend in? I don't think so. People expect us to just conform.
I wish people would start asking me questions about being trans that are like, why did you pick she, her, he, him pronouns? I wish people would ask questions like, wow, what brings you joy?
I wish people would start asking me all of the questions that they have about transgender people and me being trans. I'm a very open book when it comes to talking about my gender and being trans. And like, there's a lot of uncertainness around transgender people in general and a lot of hesitancy, but I think asking more questions and just like being more open and honest about it is just like, it can dispel a lot of the mystery about transgender people.
I wish that the questions were in good faith, and I mean, usually they are. It's kind of awesome. A lot of the times people ask me things that are just completely like people genuinely being curious. It matters why you're asking the questions more than the nature of those questions. Sometimes. I'm a pretty open book. Other trans people aren't.
And I care about educating people. I care about being educated by them. I care about being honest and forthright and like real.
Everyone's arguing something about being trans, and it doesn't have to be an argument. It can just be a thing, and it can just be like there. I'm just a person. I'm also trans, but I'm just a person.
I'm just around for the experience of being interviewed, and I guess telling my experiences to a bunch of people in a classroom.